9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Can you hear my heart? Can you feel my soul? It's the way I feel, and I won't let go. Can I feel my heart? Can I feel my soul? And I want that love, and I won't let go. And I feel my dreams, and I feel my heart, and I take that time, and I'm gonna start, yeah.
Thanks for running in front of the camera, co-host.
Hey! There he is.
Welcome back. I'm surprised you found the place. Okay, so this is really old school. Okay, Kevin's sick. Kevin is like sick. I don't know if he's deathly ill, but he's ill enough
pretty
not
close
to be
to
here.
death.
Yeah,
He's hurting pretty bad.
Yeah. We hope and wish him well.
Absolutely,
And this
buddy.
is really old school. We got no guests. You know what? I hope you're okay with it. I'm going to turn the ringer on and screw the call screening. I mean, at this point,
Sure.
anything's going to save us. Even if it's a wrong number, it's still
You sure you
better
don't
than
want to
nothing.
screen the phone calls?
Yeah. So, hey, no call screening. If you guys are at home watching, call in. We're going to need your help today.
We need it.
Or message us on the website here on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, that
we
is
have
true.
interactive video now, and
We
so
do.
we'd like to, we'd like for you guys to message in.
I have to admit, though, if you guys have a message, call in. It'd really help break up the monotony of our voices. I've forgotten how tough it is co-hosting with Mike.
Yeah,
Should I turn
I make
the
it
radio
real
off
hard.
since you got it?
Oh, you can leave it off or on, whatever you want.
I'm going to leave it on. I left it without the earpiece because I figure anything that adds to the show is going to help.
Okay, well, then I guess I don't
And
need
I don't
mine
even
in.
have my can opener anymore, or my bottle
Okay.
opener.
What do you need
So-
a bottle opener for?
For Mike's girly drink.
No, it's a twist cap.
Oh, is it? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see. I can.
We call these
his drink.
survival bottles.
Oh.
Because man, you just twist it.
it?
See? There you go.
Wow, you're so manly.
Yep.
Look at that.
So tonight, our special guest, we're going to bring Michael up. That we're starting a new show
Oh, yeah,
called
yeah,
The
yeah.
Insider. And we're kind of in the process of getting that put together. Bobby wrote a song for us. He's almost done with that, so we're real excited.
I heard a little bit of it. It sounded cool. I like
Yeah.
the bass line.
Oh, thanks, guys. That's all there is to it.
Hey, cheers, old co-host.
Yep, good times.
Look at that. Virgin's cream soda.
Yeah, it's virgin.
Right on.
It's Jesus approved.
Is it?
Yeah, it's got Jesus on it with military fatigues on.
Yeah.
Well, Jesus drank wine. So,
Well, now he's drinking cream soda.
And he's in the service.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, I don't know what's going on this week. What's been going on with you?
not much. Just working, you know. They started getting hot here towards the end of the week. And,
Yeah.
you know, trying to work in the heat. And I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the worst of it's going to be tomorrow and Sunday. You know, thank God for that. I hate working in the heat. Yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Sounds like Kevin got dehydrated because, man, he's just really hurting and cramping up and, yeah.
That
He's
sounds
been-
like Luke and I after the drunk show.
Yeah. Well, I guess they remodeled the Brood, so if anybody wants to check out Brood, they just opened up after their 3-day remodel. It looks really nice.
Yeah, we went in there. Luke and I ate right before the show, and it did. It looked a lot different.
Awesome.
I kind of forgot they were remodeling, and I walked in and it felt like, what the hell is going on here? You know, looking around. But
well, now
so-
2 big people can walk down through there instead of just one big person, and everybody else has to move out of the way.
is that what we're called? Big?
Yeah. It's
Is
it's a polite word
Yeah.
for.
So I want to throw it out
oversized.
there. The phone number, 360-693-7544. We're still a live call, and we got the time open. We got no guests except for Mike to talk about the new show.
Yeah.
And so anything you want to talk about, call in. I don't care what it's about. Like Bobby said, tell a joke, sing a song, whatever.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do.
Call in.
Come on, let's get to
Hey.
know each other today.
And can we check in the Whisper Room? We got some new people back there. We got Rebecca, Valerie, Bobby's wife. Valerie's hiding again. There she
Oh
is.
yeah, they're there. Oh yeah, the new volunteer,
The,
Becca.
the
back
three
there pitching in.
Amigas.
Amigas, there you go.
Wait, we're letting all women be in the booth? Isn't
Yes,
that against
I
our
mean,
bylaws?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
Well, Luke is telling us to flick the lights on. What? We got one light on?
Oh, the light. Hey, we got a call.
There's a caller.
Hello, caller. You're live. What's your name and number?
My name is David.
Hello, David.
Hey, David.
Hey, David.
Hi. I was wanting to get the hello.
Hold on, David. Are you the one that was an alcoholic on the Bartending 101?
What's that now?
Were you the
one
drunk?
in
Were you
the one
drunk?
in the same. You were on the drunk show, were you not, David?
Yes, I was.
Good.
So how was that after the show? How many days did it take for you to sober up?
It took me the rest of the day. I slept in. Well, first of all, before we get to the next day, I had too much to drink after we left at Denny's. My dad dropped off Adrian and Luke, and then I went to there's a gas station outside Adrian's apartment. I went and puked in the parking lot at the gas station. And then I was embarrassed because cars were driving by, so I told my dad to pull over by the Grovers, so I puked some over by the Grovers. And then I felt a lot better after that. So then I slept until 1 o'clock the next day. It just ruined my whole day, basically is what it did.
Good times.
I only
Yeah.
drink 2 or 3 times a year, so I can't take it like you guys.
Well, you're going to have to step that up. Viewer
Yeah.
response is that you tested well, so we need you on the show more.
Yeah, if I'm going to be on Bartending 101, I got to build my tolerance.
Yeah. So now I heard you guys went looking for Walter at Denny's.
What about Walter Denny's?
Yeah, remember the caller, Walter?
Yeah, do you remember us pranking Denny's?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I heard you guys went looking for Walter.
Bathroom. I think I went to Denny's 4 times and I was never able to puke, so unless the bathroom's named Walter.
So anyway, so what are you calling in about, David?
I was calling because I wanted to get Adrian's stance on the new marijuana law passed. We touched briefly on it during the drunk show, and I never got his opinion on it.
I'm in favor of legalization. I know me and you disagreed on this a little bit because you didn't really like how heavy-handed they were on the taxes. Is that correct?
That is correct. I didn't vote. I voted no strictly on the tax because it's not a right to smoke it if you got to pay such high tax and get a permit and all that crap.
Right.
That is true. But I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't like the idea of, well, it's going to tax us too much, so we'll just leave it illegal. I don't think that's any way to go for a free society. So
is your reasoning that we'll get our foot in the door and then try to get the tax repealed? Is that the logic there?
I haven't really thought about it that much. I don't smoke it myself. My boss might be watching, so I have to say that.
Yeah.
No, but
And
seriously.
plus, you'll get declined from Obamacare, I think.
Will you?
Yeah. Or are you part of Obamacare?
No, I have insurance through my work.
If you can't get Obamacare if you smoke weed, they're going to lose about 3/4 of their customers.
Yeah. To me, the taxation part bothers me, but that I'm not against the prohibition of alcohol because it's taxed. Alcohol like beer I'm drinking right now, or like the rum we drank on the bartending show. That has a higher tax rate than our standard sales tax. But just based on that doesn't mean I think it should be illegal. That's like cutting off your nose to spite your face.
That's kind of like proving my point, though, too. Now everyone's paying such a high price in taxes for alcohol and cigarettes. Now everyone just considers it normal. They don't even think about it.
That's
and
true.
Now here we are going down the same road with marijuana.
That's true.
Yeah.
Instead of saying here, just like in Oregon, you can grow 4 or 5 plants in your own backyard. Everybody can. Here in Washington, no, you can't grow it. You got to come buy it from us and pay the high tax.
Well, it seems like our states kind of leapfrog each other, and one will make the a segue into something, and then the other one says, hey, that's a good idea, maybe we should too. So maybe that will happen with our state. Maybe they'll say, well, okay, what happened to Oregon's crime rate when people were allowed to grow their own plants? Well, nothing happened. Well, then why can't we do it?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen here because it never happened with the alcohol. For years we've been traveling across the border to get our booze, Washington never followed suit on their alcohol policy. We were still paying a high tax.
Well, there's
been no follow-up.
I think the only reason for that is because the major population centers like Olympia and Seattle, Tacoma, they're not going to drive 150 miles to go buy booze. They're just going to buy it where they're at. The only people that are going across the border are the people that it's convenient for, where the loss in time, is offset by the cost savings. People in Vancouver.
So how do you figure those same people are going to follow suit with Oregon when they don't live near the border on marijuana?
Well, are you suggesting that Oregon's going to be cheaper in marijuana just because of the increase in supply?
Well, you can grow it yourself. I could grow 5 plants in my backyard if I lived in Oregon.
But
I'm guessing that would be enough to last me most of the year. I'm just guessing. I don't smoke marijuana, but
yeah, but I think in Oregon you're only allowed to grow for personal use. I'm not sure.
We all know that's not going to happen.
Well, okay, but there are going to be certain people that sell their own product, but you're limited to however many plants, like 5.
There's going to be people out there catering to the lazy. People are going, I don't want to grow that stuff, and then they're going to want to buy it for cheap.
I'd like to interject something.
Go ahead.
I'm going to segue this into it's the same thing with the gun rights. It's a freedom of choice, and it's our constitutional rights to have the choice. I can make these choices myself, not the government makes the choices for me. And the situation with the marijuana is they're wanting you to debate on your freedom of choice. They're taxing our freedom of choice. Why would eventually what they're going to do with the guns is they're going to get to the point where they're going to try to outlaw the guns, and then you're going to have to pay taxes to be able to even own a gun, just like you're doing with everything else. And it's a freedom of choice. They want to take the choices away. Why is it? It's a known fact, and I'm going to segue into this, that the CIA is the biggest drug runner of any entity, and they don't pay taxes. They get away with it. Our government's pushing this. They're bringing the opium in. Everybody knows it. What was his name? Geraldo did an interview on it. They said they're Afghanistan.
It's a huge industry.
Yeah.
In our country. All the police and the border people it gets to employ.
But they want to tax us. But they can move freely all this product.
Yeah, they view it as a jobs creation vehicle. Well, we create our own drug problem. We get to hire all these people to try to solve it.
Yeah.
To me, it's like both major parties took what should be civil liberties and split them up. So that way they can each have their own. It's like, well, you Democrats can take marijuana and gay marriage, and then we'll take gun rights and religious freedom, and we'll split it right down the middle. So that way Americans who are just in favor of freedom in general can't really choose one or the other. And it's like they divvy it up to maintain this power base, so all the third parties are screwed, because everyone's so scared of voting, oh man, if I vote for this, then Obama's going to get it, or, if I vote for, Clinton, then Bush is going to get it, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like they're taking turns. I think you're totally right. When the Republicans get in, they do things like the Patriot Act, and when Obama gets in, they're doing things like gun rights, so you're screwed no matter which way you go. They're heading down the same...
Yep.
They're achieving their goal, they're just doing it, they're tag teaming, just like a wrestling match, keep tagging each other in.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, the one thing the politicians, well, not one thing, they're very good at a lot of things, but one of the things they're very good at is kissing the ass of the typical American voter. Like they always, the American people aren't stupid and they won't fall for this kind of shenanigans when they talk about the other party, but I hate to say it, but I kind of think the typical American voter is pretty stupid. Because how long has this been going on?
I totally agree. The fact that the marijuana law passed in Washington tells us right there. Hardly anyone read that thing and read about the taxes.
Well, to me, I still would have voted for it even if it was, because it's a step in the right direction. Your argument is that, the taxes are too high, so it should stay illegal. We'll have less freedom because the taxes are too high.
Well, see, I disagree with that. I think if it had gotten shot down over the taxes, because just having the law on the ballot is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, darn it, we did. It's kind of like putting pork into a bill you're trying to pass in the Senate. It's like, oh, dang, our pork didn't pass. It failed.
Well, I'm always in...
You're like, legal? They dangle that legal carrot in front of you, quote-unquote legal, and then they say, okay, we'll just slap this tax on it, and they know people aren't going to read that. Yeah.
Well, to me, I still would have voted for it anyways, because I'm always in favor of more freedom versus less. We have it's a sin tax. I'm not in favor of sin taxes, but we have the choice, at least now, whether to partake or not, where before we didn't.
What makes
Unless
me
it was
mad?
through the black
What
market.
makes me mad is we're voting on stuff that's our civil liberties.
Yeah.
Why is it even on the ballot? That should even be that should be illegal to put something in there that goes against our Constitution.
Well, see, that's the thing. People always trying to define what a civil liberty is. You know, like Lars Larson brings that up a lot. You know, about gay marriage, and the people of Oregon voted, you know, to keep gay marriage illegal. Well, is marriage a civil liberty or not? Please repeat.
That's why we need to have earbuds.
Well,
She's telling us the time.
oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Sure. Thank you, Rebecca. The reason I didn't do the earbud is because I figured we were going to need as much content as we got. But apparently we're doing fine. I'm going to turn this off then. Okay.
Well, now
so
I
my
put
radio's
my
off.
earbud in. Okay.
Oh, yours fell out.
Well, no, I did.
Okay.
And you're on
So
mine. There we go. Go ahead.
So the marijuana. Oh, and while we're sidetracked right now, I want to tell Luke, if you have something to say to me, I'm not good at the pantomime thing. Just write it down on the whiteboard. So, okay. Hey, you know,
Think
it's
about the number.
This is an
so
old
people know
school
where to
show.
call.
Yeah, 360-693-7544. But we're not done with Dave's call yet.
Yeah.
The call, I'm only going to hold. I've been trying to blind a lot.
No, it's fine.
You know, it pisses me off. You know, marijuana's supposedly, legal now. It's legal, but you know, my wife could really use it, but I can't even grow it myself. If I want it to benefit my wife, I got to go down to the store and pay astronomical prices. Every time I talk to a pot smoker and I tell them what the price is, they about to have a stroke. I think it's at least double what the black market rate is.
Your wife's, it would be for pain relief, right?
Yeah, but I know where you're going with this. She could go get medical marijuana, but I shouldn't have to. I should be able to go unregulated and just grow what my wife needs in the back. It's a natural plant.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly.
So I don't like the idea of that, like I said, it's supposed to be my right. It should be my right, and here we are having to talk about the government taxing, it's a sin tax. We're talking about putting a sin tax on a product that people need.
Yeah.
And what about the taxes they're getting ready to put on the farmers market? They're trying to outlaw the farmers markets. So
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
yeah, they're doing it down in California.
So if you get the medical marijuana card in Washington, does that allow you to grow your own plants in Washington?
Yes.
I believe so.
It does. So
But if you do, I think you're subject to inspection at any time. Anytime they want to beat on your door and look at your grow, they can.
huh.
And I'm not sure, but if someone wants to call and comment on this, I think if you have a medical marijuana grow, you can't have firearms in the house or something. So you got to give up. I'm not 100% on that.
No, that's not true. I actually have a friend that's not to disagree with you, David, but just want to clarify. I actually have somebody that's a close friend of mine that actually is growing it, and legally, and he can have firearms.
Okay, so never mind that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't sure on that one. But yeah, I don't like the idea. So for me, that's just me exercising my right. It's my right to grow marijuana. Well, we're here to inspect your right.
Yeah.
We're here to inspect your.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
That becomes a privilege at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Dave.
No problem. Yeah, I'll be watching if you guys need me to call in.
Yeah. Well, call in if you feel you have something to contribute.
Yeah,
too.
if you see the show dying, call.
Well, I mean, if you have a question for me, just yell it out and I'll call in.
All right. Or well, hey, if you think you have something to contribute to the conversation, like Mike said, if we're going stagnant, call in.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounded like we.
Yeah, Dave.
Only if you're stagnant, though, because otherwise you don't want to hear from me.
Dave, you're our lifeline.
Yeah. Hey, but before we go, I kind of remember where we were before I was sidetracked, and we were talking about the stupidity of the typical American voter. And if you look at it for the past time, at least since I've been able to vote, we've been basically changing political dynasties. We had the Bushes, and then because you had Bush as vice president all the time during Reagan. So from 80 to 88. Then you had Bush from 88, 92. And I know I'm naming off election years. Technically, they were the year after, from 89 to 93 or whatever. But then you had Clinton. And then you had Bush again. And it's really weird. And then if you consider Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State, I mean, you've had a Clinton in the White House, a Bush or a Clinton in the White House since 1980. And it's all these political dynasties. And I mean, to me, it's almost becoming like royalty. Isn't that what we fought against England for? That we didn't like the idea that someone was born to rule? They were born better than you, or always suit to be in leadership positions?
Yeah, I think they came out the other day and they said 25 out of all the presidents are all related.
I would believe that.
Wow.
Get without THC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Hillary's going to win though.
Okay, so we have a comment from the audience. Get without THC with CBD legal in all states. I don't get that.
What's CBD?
THC is the stuff that gets you mentally high with the marijuana.
I-
CBD is the stuff that gives like benefits to your body, I think.
Okay. Yeah, but the CBD?
No high.
No high. Huh.
Yeah, there's no high in it. You just get all the other, like the pain relief and stuff.
Okay.
I bet you that stuff still. I bet I couldn't even grow that in my backyard.
Yeah, probably not.
They send me to jail for that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, to me, it's like, how much are we willing to tolerate? This is the land of the free, last I heard. You know, but then we're willing to tolerate all these, little injunctions put on us. And we did it to ourselves, really. 9/11 happened, and everyone was just willing to sign away, their rights for a bit of security. Oh, man, the terrorists might get us. Well, hey, how about if we just have to take off our shoes and go through a strip search to go on vacation now? It's like, and everyone's, oh, great, it keeps us safe. Let's do it. To me, that's when we cease to become a free republic.
I got another question for you. You might not be able to answer so easy. How do you overcome the mainstream juggernaut? Because my personal opinion is, after World War II, I think, the Allies, everybody saw how effective, Germany's control of the media was. They decided to emulate that. So how do you overcome? You've got all these stupid things happening because of the media, this reporting and all that stuff. Just for example, the media chooses either
You turn it off, David. You just turn it off. And go ahead.
Or
Sorry.
they choose not to report certain things like that filibuster that you guys aired.
Yeah.
They're choosing not to report that. So
Yep.
you really have an agenda. How do you overcome that?
Well, I think the shameless self-plug is stuff like this show, like what we're doing right now.
Yep.
Part of me thinks we're already screwed. We're just, we're still going through the motions, but I think it's already too late. Personally.
It's by making little stands, David, and it's amazing if you just. Everybody thinks that they're helpless. They think, well, what can I do to stand up against this big, huge machine? It's little steps, little tiny steps. Just one little thing really makes a big stand. There for a while, it's like, man, I just got rid of my TV. Some people think that's extreme, but I got so tired of the media, the lies, that I couldn't even watch it anymore. I was like, I'm done, and so I just got rid of it. I started to find out there's a lot of people going in that same direction, and I think CNN now has under 100,000 viewers. The Cartoon Network has more viewers than CNN.
Huh.
And so these dynasties are falling apart, and they know people are waking up. And I heard one guy went to CNN, their headquarters, and they said there was feces on the wall. It was disgusting. The station was. He said they're just barely operating. Only reason why they're staying alive is because they have government funding. But other than that, I mean, it is dead. And so it's little stands like that, like the money issue. I've seen on some money people writing on the money. So people say, well, that's illegal. You can get in big trouble. We're already in trouble. We're in so much trouble right now. It's time for everybody to start making a stand against what this system stands for. Putting little, I'm not talking about going and destroying public property or anything like that, but you can do little things by putting stickers up, telling people, hey, wake up. I've heard from a couple people that just through one sticker, it just basically was in their face, and it shocked their system, and they were mad at first, but it woke them up. And I can't remember what it's called. It's called single spectrum thinking. They have trained us to think single spectrum instead of dual spectrum or multi-spectrum. I'm going to segue off for a second, but this is real important for people to know. We are created to think multi-spectrum, but they have trained us to think single spectrum, where I'm a Democrat or Republican. A quarter is worth a quarter because it has the heads on it, or it has the tails. Dual spectrum says, oh, Democrat and Republican are corrupt. The quarter is worth a quarter because it has heads and tails. But multi-spectrum goes, the whole system is corrupt. The quarter is a quarter because of the metal, the stamp, the whole thing makes it a quarter, makes it worth a quarter. And that's where we need to start thinking, is outside the box. And sometimes there's a shock to the system. It's like a car when it's dead. You need to charge it to get it going. And that's what people need. They need to be shocked out of their system. I walk down the street and people look like they're zombies. It's
Like
wild.
Zombies walk down the street and the sidewalk, looking at their phones.
Yeah, we were sitting over here at Main Event, and I saw 5 people just drive right through the intersection without even slowing down at all. I'm like, it's a blinking red light. Don't you know to stop?
Yeah, 4-way stop.
Yeah. They're just blowing right through it. Anyways, there's so much more I want to say, but I'm trying to hold back.
Go ahead. You haven't been on in a while.
No, it really makes me mad because there's a lot of nice people out there, a lot of innocent people, and they have really good hearts, but they're deceived by this. It's hard for them to believe that there's somebody evil trying to kill them or trying to take away their freedom slowly. It's hard for them to comprehend that. They think, well, why would the government want to do that? Why would the government want to take my rights?
Okay, I'm going to go on an extreme point of view here, and I'm going to say if the people Thomas Jefferson, I think, said that we get the government we deserve. And if people are stupid enough to let this slip through their fingers, they kind of had it coming. I mean, you look at all this uproar we've had about Bruce Jenner and now Caitlyn Jenner and the Kardashian dad, mom, whatever, that had the sex change. I mean, like, good for her, him, I don't really care. But everyone's so worked up about this and the Vanity Fair cover. Meanwhile, we had the Patriot Act renewal, going on. No one gives a shit. And it's like, what the hell is going on? You guys are worried about this guy having this Olympian from 35 years ago had a sex change. Oh my God, earth-shattering news. But hey, the Patriot Act might take away some of your freedoms you just got back that you haven't seen in 13 years.
Yeah.
Hey, who cares? Someone else take care of it. It's like, well, if you guys are that fucking stupid, you deserve to lose your rights. Wake up.
It's like when Mr. Burns, they had his birthday and they had the people of Australia light candles so you could see it from space, and he goes, no time.
Yeah. It's really kind of disgusting. And I think part of it is just that we've had it too good for so long. Us as a country, I mean, we've really flourished. And I think what we're experiencing now is the death of, we're not an empire, but the death of it. We're changing to where it can't be supported. Too many people expect too much, and we've become entitled. And I think it's not sustainable. Our way of life isn't sustainable anymore, and I think it's gonna go away. I think it has to. I mean, you look at our national debt, $17 trillion, or whatever it is, $18 trillion.
But it's all false. It's a false derivative.
Well, it doesn't matter.
And the banks have put that upon us. So we need to wake up to these false debts that they're putting on us. They're slowly putting us into slavery. A slavery to a debt that we do not even owe.
Well, maybe we didn't, sign on for it, but the people we elected signed us up for it. And now that's all that matters. Yeah. Regardless, if it's a legal debt, it has to be paid.
If we confront it, we don't have to pay it back, just like Iceland did. Iceland confronted it and arrested the bankers, and it freaked them out, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and they actually went after Iceland and said, well, we're not going to let any more planes fly in there. And they're going, okay, that's fine. Oh, okay, well, we'll let the planes go in there. But they arrested the bankers for falsifying these debts. And that's the only thing we have to do. But will we?
Yeah.
It's by us talking about it right now reveals that these are false debts. Why are we bailing out, what's his name? Not J.P. Morgan, but, oh my God.
Chase Bank?
No, he's out of Texas. I can't remember his name.
J. Paul Getty?
No, he's the one that's always on the TV. Says his secretary pays more taxes than he does.
Oh, goddamn, Berkshire Hathaway.
Warren Buffett. And he just criminal. I mean, they gave him money out of the bailout.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did he get money?
I'd really like to worry about all this national debt issue. I'm sure it's cool and all. It's kind of interesting. But did you hear American Idol finish its last season of all time this year?
I don't.
That's the news we are concerned with. No,
it's
done. I mean, can you believe it?
Yay.
Oh, my God. American Idol, man.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, didn't they have more votes on that show than people voted in the presidential election? I mean, granted, I think people can vote more than once on that. They don't really keep track of, hey, you can only vote once. But still, it's kind of disgusting to me.
It's the same thing with the presidential election. I don't know what the difference is between American Idol voting and the presidential. I mean, it's the same fraud.
Yeah. I guess it's fraud that makes you feel good, though. It makes you feel warm and
That's
fuzzy.
what we should do, is send the presidents, the people that are running for president, on America's Idol. Whoever can sing the best wins.
Yeah, well,
because basically that's what you're getting. You're really
to me,
getting
the whole presidential thing is a sham, anyways. And I'm sorry, I might offend people. I don't know how people in the booth or Carol, how you guys
if
feel.
you offend them? If you offend them, there's a reason why
I
they're
guess they're
offended
paying
because,
attention.
yeah, they're paying attention. If they're offended,
Quick side note.
you're waking them up.
Quick side note, you really need to fix a screensaver on this thing, man. That thing must be like 30 seconds or something.
It's Apple.
Yeah.
Hey, why
I
don't you
don't
fix
personally
it?
care about offending anybody anymore.
Yeah, well, okay, but my
When I'm in
point...
a restaurant and I hear people saying something stupid, I'm starting to talk up to them, trying to stand by, and just letting the idiots try to run the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't.
my point was, when you hear, and it happened with Obama, when a bunch of black people got energized, and hey, we got to vote for the first black president, and then the same thing happened with Hillary, and it's still kind of happening. We could vote for the first woman president, but if it was the other way around, who would tolerate that kind of attitude? It's
So
like,
would
who-
she be the first black lady president?
Yeah. Then do you realize if Obama ran in Nigeria, he would have been the first white president? but anyways, like people who get energized just to be the first to vote for the first whatever woman president, Catholic president, Mormon president, whatever.
Well, I'm
To me-
voting for Hillary Clinton for prison in 2016.
Yeah.
I'm going to get T-shirts made.
Seriously, think if someone said
I'm
that.
talking about the stupid people I was talking about earlier. The people, they're not voting on issues. They're just voting because, well, this is popular. It's going to be cool. It's going to be
Yeah,
good. They're not
that's
voting on what's going to be best.
Now think about how this would be perceived if instead of saying I'm voting for Hillary because it's time we had a woman there, like who do you like out of the Republican lineup? I like Ted Cruz, and well, why do you like him best? I heard he has the biggest penis. I vote on genitalia. I'm a genitalia kind of voter. No one would respect that opinion and be like, what does that have to do with anything?
If you really wanted to get him riled up, you could say you're voting for him because he's white. It's not okay for you to say that, but if you're black,
yeah.
you can vote for Obama, though.
Yeah,
He's black.
that's exactly it. And
You
people,
don't get burned at the stake, though, so you're voting for the guy because he's white.
yeah, and Mitt Romney went through the same thing. Oh, are we ready for a Mormon president? I don't care what mythological figure he believes in. His religion does not appeal to me. And yes, I called it mythological figure. But I don't care what he believes in. I care on his policies. I didn't like Mitt Romney because he was just part of the system. If you guys remember when Mitt Romney was campaigning and it was Obama versus Romney, and he'd talk about what a failure Obamacare was. Well, pardon me, but Obamacare was modeled after Massachusetts state health care, which was done by Romney. It was Romney care. And Obamacare was modeled after that, but all of a sudden he's talking about the evils of it. It's like, well, you helped fucking design it, you dip.
I know you and I disagree on this, but I looked up the numbers again, and people are waking up to the fraud. If anybody's out there and wants to know what's going on with the election, you need to look up black box voting, and it gives you in-depth information on how the system runs and how there is so much corruption in the voting. They already pre-plan who the person's going to be in place. And the last election, because people started catching on to that, I was telling people, I think 51%, that's what I was saying, but I actually looked it up, and it was 61% of the people didn't vote.
I believe it.
That is high, and it shook up the system because they realized that people are not participating in the fraud anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen. Some people say, well, then you don't have a voice to say anything because you didn't vote. That is my voice. My voice was not to vote.
Yeah, to me, vote
And
third party.
that made a stand. It shook up the system to realize we're not participating in it.
I disagree because the reason why is because
it doesn't matter if you disagree or not. The point is they even came out and said it. They're actually now they're trying to twist the votes around. They're trying to get more people to vote by actually bringing in a third party. But it's all fraud. It's all part of the theater.
Now, the reason I disagree is because the majority of people who vote will vote one of the two parties, Republican and Democrat. Now, when people like us who get disgusted and throw up my hands and say, you know what, I'm not voting, you could have voted your conscience and voted a third party like Libertarian or Constitution Party or Reform Party or whatever. But people act like there's only two choices available. It's like, no, vote your conscience. There's plenty of choices out there. You can find one that suits you. And when you throw up your hands and don't vote at all, what you're letting happen, and you said 60% of people don't vote, and that's counting on voter turnout. That's based on people who are registered to vote. When you count for every person in the country, including those who are eligible to vote but never registered, the voter turnout is much lower. It's like in the 15 to 20%. So you're basically letting 15 to 20% of the population decide for the rest of the 80% of the population, how things are
Yeah,
going to
but
go.
from what I understand, anything that's not over 51% is illegit votes. It doesn't stand. And so what we have is an illegit president that's in place because he never got the majority of the votes. You have to have the majority vote. Hey, you want to? That's going to time out. Touch it.
Thank you. Here,
Yeah.
you got to
Okay,
across
I'll
to you.
take it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so, and then now if you look at that, then any laws he signed into place is totally illegit. Because he is not a legit president because based just on the voting. I mean, you have less than 50%.
Okay, well, let's say we could go back. First, you'd have to, find enough people in Congress and Senate, or the House of Representatives and Senate that are willing to call BS on all this. And they're going to have to go back and do the impeachment articles or whatever. And that ain't going to happen. Not in this system
no.
because they're all part of it. So,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's an illegitimate presidency or not, is kind of irrelevant because we're with it now anyways. We're too far gone. I mean, how many years are we into? We're into the... we got one more year to go.
Yeah, but we're
7 years
suckers
in.
because we continue to allow this to go on.
I agree.
And we keep voting, participating in this system that's a fraud. It's a complete fraud.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, this is a legitimate question. This is not rhetorical. I really want to know this. So, let's say Obama does something, he's breaking the law. He signs in some kind of bill that's not legit. Why can't I, just as a private citizen, go down and get an attorney and press charges against Obama?
You can. You can.
Yeah, to me, I think you could.
But it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you a boatload of money.
What if I got an attorney who worked for free? Let's just pretend I have one.
Well, to me, it seems like there should be enough attorneys willing to take up the cause. But, I mean, in theory, it seems like you could.
No, you can do that.
He doesn't have any kind of protection being the president, right? He's just a citizen like
No,
me.
He has protection from arrest, but he doesn't have protection from suits, I don't believe. This is where I hope an attorney does call in.
I'd like to get Michael on here. Michael knows
if we
a
have an
lot.
attorney listening, now would be a good time to call in. Because I'd like to know why can't
My-
that citizen, he's breaking the law, I see him breaking the law. Why can't some average cop just go up and arrest him and say, hey, they all dressed up, pull up in his car and say, hey, Obama, you're under arrest, you broke the law.
Hey, Michael, why don't you come up here?
Well, the president, I think, is immune to arrest. At least for certain charges. I think capital charges.
Why can't they go? Okay, all right. I remember you said that. Why can't they just go up and say, "Hey, you've got a court summons or a judge. So here's a court summons. You need to be in my court on Thursday.
Yeah,
breaking the law. Why can't we do that?
I don't know.
Michael, what's your answer?
So I'm listening to this, and
By the way, this is Michael Petrovich.
Hey, Mike.
how you doing?
Michael, welcome back to the show.
Good to be here.
This is an old school show. Just get riled up and nothing going on.
All kinds of things have come up as you've gone through this discussion. I want to make some statements here. First of all, I think we have one of the most wonderful countries that could ever exist, probably in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
If you look at how this country was formed and you look at the structure that they put in place when they formed the Constitution, these guys were brilliant.
Yes, they were.
And you look at, over the years, I don't know if you understand that there's been people that have tried to rewrite the Constitution. And all of them, for example, they end up on the Soviet model. They always start off with, the state grants you the right to do this, and the state grants you the right to do that.
Yeah.
But when we looked at this country, the way it was formed as the Constitution was a limiting document. It structured and said what a government could do and also what it couldn't do. And because of that, we created a system that was remarkable. And part of it is because we had people that created this government that were fearful of government. And they knew it could get out of control. And so, and you look at what happened through history. We started back in 1776. And then in 1789, and we got the Constitution founded, and we moved forward. But ever since then, it has been slowly, an external effort has been to try to destroy this natural structure that was put in place. I was thinking about this as you were talking. Let me give you a quick history lesson. Back in the 50s, you remember all the stories. Probably you heard about McCarthy. And you remember everybody, what do you think about when you think of McCarthy?
The Red Scare.
The Red Scare, and there's a quack, and in fact, you probably see the clips where he was harassing some individual in court. Okay, let's talk about what you probably don't know. So our intelligence had determined, actually not only our intelligence, also British intelligence and French intelligence, determined that there were spy rings operating inside the U.S. government. There were also spy rings operating in the British and French government. The French and British acted upon that knowledge. And what they did is they went in, they cleaned out these spy rings. The United States didn't. And so that's what actually prompted McCarthy to come forward. So we get this committee that starts investigating this. And basically, there was a list that McCarthy had. And I don't know if you realize this, but there's something like 200 people. As soon as that list came out, they immediately resigned. But what happened is that investigation got ultimately shut down, which means there was a Soviet spy ring continuing to operate inside the U.S. government. So I want to get beyond just the Soviets, but what I'm telling you is, if you look at what's happened today, our country is a country that has been infiltrated. So at the highest levels within our government, those people do not have the best interests of the American people. Right. So I could say in the language of the House Un-American Activities Committee, they would be doing activities that could be considered un-American. So what's been happening is we have this wonderful country, but we're basically an occupied nation. So when you look at who's running the country, and then you get into the political parties, I could also tell you who's running the political parties, and it's the same people. They control. Just in fact, listening to a guy by the name of George Green, and he was in a meeting, and they wanted him to be the treasurer of the one of the actually Democratic Party. This is before Jimmy Carter was elected. And he said, well, I'm a Republican. He says, don't worry. Paul Volcker comes forward, chairman of the Fed. Paul Volcker comes forward and says, don't worry, we own them both. So they've controlled the parties, and they've created a situation where I can't blame the American people completely, because part of it is the system that's been put in place has prevented them from actually seeing. That's been part of the game. So slowly but surely, they're moving forward toward their agenda, and we're seeing it. I started studying this back in the 70s. You know, people thought I was crazy back then, but now it's the nice part about it is I can tell people, hey, I told you so. It's happening. The stuff that nobody would have believed.
What's that saying? You're crazy at first when you're saying this, and then when it comes to pass, you're a prophet.
Yes. Yeah. So lots of things are happening. We were talking about disclosure, and have you ever heard of the Illuminati?
Oh yeah. I do want to interject real quick, Dave. Do you have any immediate questions? If not, I was going to clear the line for anyone else who wanted to maybe.
Yeah, because we got a whole bunch of phone calls coming in.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Davey.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was reading recently some documents that came out in the early 2000s, and it was a woman who was involved with Illuminati, and she had been out for about 5 years, and so it was probably around 1995 was her last experience. But according to her, the plan was by 2020 for the Illuminati to become public. In other words, to go public. Well, some interesting things have been happening here recently. One of the things that I started noticing in the last year, I started hearing people talk about the Illuminati on different television programs.
Michael, 1 second.
Sure.
If anybody wants to call in, phone number is 360-693-7544. If you have any questions or anything to add to what Michael's saying. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Michael.
So first thing you start hearing, it could have been like Big Bang Theory, whatever. People are using the term Illuminati. So nobody talked about it. When that ever came up, it's like Jim Carrey said, he called it Illuminati. People just kind of made fun of it. Nobody really took it seriously. Well, then recently, I don't know if you realize this, Madonna just came out with a song talking about the Illuminati, and so what's happening is it's coming forward. And then my friend Fritz was in contact with the head of the Illuminati, and he was also talking about this whole activity of coming forward, because they actually believe they had such a profound effect on our history that they deserve to be known. And they actually have gotten close enough to their goals that there's nothing anybody can do anymore. That's what their belief system is. What's happening also is, and I think Americans and people around the world are starting to wake up. And so eventually they can't keep it secret anymore. They're gonna have to.
Was that part of that whole agenda where they expose themselves and basically kind of like, you accept us, create this chaos where everybody starts begging them for help? And so I think that's why you see a lot of them building these redoubts that, those armored bunkers and stuff like that, because they know they're getting ready to come out and kind of expose to the world who they are. And people are going to want to kill them. You know, you have a certain group that wants to take them down, but then you got at the same time, they're going to cause, they already said they have a plan, they have an agenda, is to cause famine, to cause viruses to be released, to where it breaks down the population to 500 million, to where you break them down so hard that they beg, that their words is, they will beg us to save them, and we will be their gods.
Yes, and they will be our gods.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So that's actually accurate. So what you'll see is they will basically, you have a group that wants to become the ruling class, and then they need a worker class.
Yeah.
Which is maybe some of us, but there's a bunch of people that they don't need. Mm-hmm. And so probably 2/3 of the population they're going to want to get rid of, and they can do that through a number of ways. Everything from war, which is one of the they're way behind schedule because they wanted to create World War III by the year 2000.
Yeah,
and it
but
didn't
Clinton
come
screwed
about.
that up. According to what I've read, is Clinton screwed up their plan, put them 10 years behind.
Yep.
Now it's 15 years behind.
Yep. So
schedule.
they're getting antsy. They've been trying. They tried to. They tried to get us to go into Syria and all, but so far it hasn't taken shape. So I think we've been lucky.
Yeah.
But that's
well, you got a big portion of people, even though it's 40% that are awake. Mm-hmm. It's still big enough population where they're waking up other people. It's slowly. I think there's 20% that are actually for it. Mm-hmm. The rest of the people are in limbo. They don't know what's going on.
I suspect that when they come forward, it will be with they'll have their own PR firms.
Oh yeah.
And they'll come forward and it'll be we are the great benevolent people who have looked after the planet, and we've done all of the things that we've done has been for the good of the planet.
We have a couple comments from Heisenberg. He also points out ISIS in North Korea.
Oh yes.
And he also says Mike needs a joint.
That's right.
Oh, and he says I look good tonight.
Oh, he says it every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know, he's very nice.
So
okay, one thing I want to interject.
Sure.
Now, if they control everything, see, I don't really necessarily think that it's a big overarching conspiracy. Mm-hmm. I just think that they're all out for themselves and their pension retirement plans. To each man his own. Hey, get rich quick kind of thing. That's what it appears to be to me. Because if they were all controlled, all the Senate and the banks and the politicians are all controlled by the Illuminati or whoever controls this vast conspiracy. If they control them all, they already have the votes. Why would Syria fail or ISIS fail? They have the votes in Congress to get what they want. Why couldn't they just go to war?
They tend to influence. I would say the control is. I don't think it's like how you're perceiving it, in the sense that, as I've mentioned this before, it's not about money. It's only about the control of wealth and the control of the population. So they think they're moving the planet toward their own golden age. So they have this, they almost think it's their moral duty. But the problem I have is, of course, they don't have respect for everyone. In other words, they believe the end justifies the means. You got to remember, this is a group of people that are willing to take their children and put them through mind control torture. To the fact where they'll take their children, they will torture them, split their minds, program them, and they think that's a good thing. They think they're elevating the world. That's the mentality.
Because in their heart, they think they're doing the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know if it's a psychopathic system, definitely. I don't know if they're all psychopaths, but I think they can move toward that.
A quick side note, I think this was the first time in underground history that I've had a fourth beer.
Oh, you had to fill up?
Yeah. Well, yelling about things is kind of thirsty work, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Lucas.
So, why doesn't Heisenberg ever call in and start yelling?
I hope he does.
He hides behind that computer.
Heisenberg,
Yeah,
call in.
I think he's scared
I'll
to
yell
call
it at
in.
him.
Well, I appreciate that at least giving us comments.
Yeah.
Well, Heisenberg needs to get off the computer.
He's opened himself up. We know he's watching.
I'm trying to get him to call in.
So I think,
Heisenberg?
as I said, some of the politics is, I consider politics entertainment for the masses.
To me, if that was true, it'd be a lot more popular, like American Idol.
Yeah,
if it was entertainment for the masses, it didn't working so hot.
Yeah, it's not quite American Idol, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of money that goes politics. Look at what happens when somebody's running for president. Look at them.
Oh yeah.
We're talking. I don't know if they need $1 billion now or to run for president.
I like the idea. I'm going to spend $20 million to run for a $500,000 a year job.
Yep.
Did you see that new suit that Hillary's wearing? I think it's a suit, but it's a shirt. It's a shirt suit. So it looks like a suit, but you just pull it over.
Huh.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see her.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
I tried not to watch her too much.
Yeah. Anyways. I thought we'd get the segue off onto that. It's more important about knowing what people are wearing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, fashion. That's a good one.
Yeah. You're high fashion.
Yes, I am.
Yes, he is.
I pick one shirt I like and I wear it until it
I noticed you're not.
tatters.
This is the first time I ever see you. You haven't worn your hat in like a month.
Oh, I haven't been wearing my hat in a while. I've been trying to, show that I do have hair because most men overcompensate. They cover up bald spots, stuff like like Bobby does.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
He's
Bobby,
got
to bring you
over.
in, but seriously, we have been ignoring Bobby. Bobby, you got any comments? Not necessarily on bald spots, but do you have any comments on anything we're talking about tonight?
You know what? I think that the political structure, it's like, here it is. We all know that politicians are liars. We know this, and we continue to vote for these liars, and then we get mad at them when they lie to us. Okay, it's like, is there a party to vote for where there's some truth and honesty going on?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. You think there is?
Oh, there is, and I feel confident enough to answer that. I think you and I are pretty similar in that we vote Libertarian
either like the Libertarian or the Constitutionalist Party. If you look at some of them, they're not running for the glory. They're running out of principle. At least I can respect that.
No.
And actually, even when Ross Perot ran, I did vote for Ross Perot back in the early days. And part of it was, here was somebody who wasn't a politician, just thought he could do a good job running the country. Of course, they got to him.
Well, he really exposed the two-party system when he came out, even though they made him look like an idiot. But man, he exposed it. He exposed the fraud.
Yeah. So and introduced different discussions.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. But I actually do think there are people that run. As I said, take the libertarian candidates. They have principle, and that's what they're running on.
Yeah.
And you know what they stand for. You know what they believe, and you know what they want to do.
Yeah. To me, whether Libertarian, Constitution, Green Party, Reform Party, Workers' World Party. I mean, Workers' World is one of those ones that I think is kind of nuts. But the reason I think you can vote for them and trust them to do what they believe is best is the fact that they're third party.
Yep.
They're not in it to win it. They're not in it for a career. They're not looking for a pension payout. They're in it because they believe in it. To me, when you pick Republican or Democrat, to run as, you're kind of automatically choosing one of the two sides that is almost guaranteed to win. And to me, that's a career move. I think someone who's in it because they believe in it is going to go their conscience and go third party.
I think people really need to realize, though, people vote for Democrat or Republican. It should be obvious. Just look at what's happened. Do you think Bush was really that much different than Obama?
No.
Look at what happened when Obama came in. You notice that Obama kept all the same people that Bush had.
Yeah.
So when you look at what's happened, it's just a smokescreen.
Yeah. And to me, they also both had mandates. Bush. Okay, so you had the Republican Revolution back in '94 when they took both houses of Congress when Clinton was in office. Mm-hmm. And then boom, all of a sudden Bush is elected. You have Republican majority in all three. You have the White House, you have both houses of Congress. You have carte blanche to pass anything you want. And your wildest dreams. So now all this time you've been bitching about if only we had this, then we could solve all our problems. Well, there you go. Pass anything you want. All our problems should have been solved. And then the same thing happened with Obama in 2008. They had the White House and both houses of Congress. Well, here's your chance to prove your solutions out. So what the hell happened? Nothing.
Nothing.
Because if they solve the problems, then they don't have a career in it.
Well,
it's
yeah,
like, well, hey, we cleaned up the house. Let's go home,
They're
guys.
just creating conflict.
Yeah. Well, they create chaos so they can be the saviors of it.
Yeah, so
But
it's,
the thing is, they're not even saviors. They just create more chaos.
Oh, they're about to. If we can only just make that one corner, we're going to
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
things around, get
If you
America
just
back
give up
on track.
a little bit more of your freedom, we can make this turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's kind of hilarious
Then
to
they
watch.
don't.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
But
Then
they
they
took your
don't
freedom.
turn anywhere
Yeah.
except taking some more freedom away.
Yeah. Well,
Hey.
if we just pass the health care bill, then we can read it to find out what's in it.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you read it first,
Yeah.
and then tell us what's in
Oh,
it, and then
oh.
we'll decide if we'll pass
Yeah,
it.
that's illegal. Yeah.
God, that was stupid.
Have you ever noticed the? It's kind of hilarious to listen to the State of the Union address, and it's always how wonderful and how great everything's going. And why doesn't a president get up there and just tell them the truth? Why don't we? Why can't
They're
they?
not-
Because they're all blackmailed. They can't tell the truth.
Now, just because the president is a black male doesn't mean anything, right? Let's not bring race into this.
I think I put D at the end of that.
Yeah, oh, blackmailed, yes.
But I
So-
thought that was a quick thing.
So, Michael, what? Now I know you're getting ready to start a new show.
We
Yeah,
yes.
So, and what's going to be the name of it?
Well, I don't know. You threw out a name earlier that we might call it the Insider. But basically, what we're looking at
The reason
doing.
why I brought that out because I thought that's what he told me he was going to do.
Oh no. But basically, we're thinking about having a show that would have basically to tell people what's really going on to the best of our ability. You know, I think about over the years. I've talked with people in intelligence. I've talked with people that kind of have been around. People that like I said, like my friend Fretz, who's talked with the head of the Illuminati. What is it these people are really doing? It's becoming more and more apparent as to what's happening, and I think people just need to know
Yeah.
a little bit. Here's where we're at. Here's where I don't know if we have enough to really stop it, but we can let people know what's going on, and here's what to look out for, and here's what to watch for. And it's once you understand what's happening and you understand how they work, it becomes much more obvious to see through what they're doing.
Yeah.
It becomes very apparent. In other words, you can. I like this. We talked about this on another show. This idea of neo-cheating, and there was this guy who developed this way to cheat at poker, and it was so subtle that you could do really well. The problem is if somebody you were playing in this card game, somebody knew how that system worked, they could immediately spot it right away. They would know exactly what you were doing. And so this person that developed this method kind of took it and looked at it, for example, in politics and everyday life. And he said there are these people that are neo-cheating. They're using certain techniques. They're doing certain things. And when you understand the techniques and you understand the methods that they're using, then it becomes apparent. You can see right through it. And that's part of what we have to do to kind of wake people up, so that it becomes obvious. They can watch the news. They can watch that. It's interesting because they'll talk about some event, and you always need to know, well, what are they not talking about? What's not being covered? What's not being said? And then get into here's where you need to start looking. All you have to do is start looking at it. As soon as you see it, it becomes obvious.
Yeah. Have you noticed people that when you try to expose this to them or you try to present this to them, how some people just get really mad? They really get upset.
Yes.
That you're exposing something. They're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden if I'm a theorist, then why is this happening? Then you start breaking down those walls a little bit, and it's almost, it's very painful for them to even accept what you're saying.
I think even, as a young man, I got to go back. Let's go back 30 years. And as I started, so I get out of college and go to work, and I believe in the free enterprise system and capitalism and all of that. And then I got into this journey of trying to uncover what was going on in the world, and I realized that the wealthy capitalists were financing communism. and that hit me. That just I couldn't. My whole worldview just kind of went inside out. I couldn't handle it. I mean, it took me a while to just a day or two to integrate that into my brain. So there's certain things like that when you look at what's really going on. I can tell you this: most people live in a bubble, and they're living in a world that isn't really real. In other words, they're living in the world that's been created for them.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, if you start introducing things and you start, giving them the red pill versus the blue pill decision, a lot of people it's painful. It's because their whole mental world has to shake up. Here we're making, we're kind of bashing the Democrats and Republicans. There are people out there, I can tell you, that put their heart and soul into the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. They really work hard. They really believe in it.
Yeah.
And when you tell them, hey, the reality is it doesn't really make a difference. Look at who's really controlling. Go up to the top. Look at who's making decisions.
Yeah.
And that would shake their world up. Think about. I think about the Democratic and Republican conventions. And you have all these people cheering and like it makes a difference. There's people that believe that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that you run into if there's certain things that people have as their belief systems, and you're attacking that. And sometimes that's really painful. And a lot of people would prefer to hold on to their beliefs than grasp onto the truth.
They call it blood ties. There's a book that's actually titled Blood Ties, and it explains that some people, when they get exposed to some fraud, they will change the course that they're on. But some people will not change that course. They'll even go deeper and try to get other people to participate in the fraud that they accepted, because they feel like they were a fool.
Yes.
So to cover that up, they'll get more people to come in, so they're deceived. It's, for some reason, it makes them feel better that they were deceived.
I think it's human nature. It's always easier to convince other people that what you believe is true than to admit to yourself that what you believe is false. And I think that's one reason. And
is it pride?
I don't know that it's necessarily pride. I think it's a lot of fear. People are really scared to admit that what they believed in was wrong. I mean, it took me a long time, and I'm going to offend a lot of people here, but I felt the same way when I went through my losing my faith, in religion. I used to be a devout Christian. I mean, that's, Ovi points out how he knows the Bible more than I do, because I used to study it and read it all the time, and then to me, I just kind of had an awakening. It's like, if he really loves us as much as he says, then why would he allow it to happen? I mean, logically.
Why do you allow what?
Allow this stuff to happen, whatever, killing ourselves, rape of children, whatever. And it's just, I thought, obviously, if someone did, then they wouldn't allow it to happen, logically. If he's as smart as they say and as loving as they say, he wouldn't allow it to happen. I'm not trying to go into the religion thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
yes.
but people can come back and give you an honest, rebuttal on that, and that he's a God of free will, but it's not so much him that's allowing this to happen as who's doing it.
No, but I agree. But okay, let's say we had
or natural disasters or whatever.
Yeah,
that's a common.
I'm all for the free will thing. You look at my obesity. I'm overweight. And if I die of a heart attack, I have no one to blame but myself.
Yeah, but somebody would blame it on God. Why'd you allow him to die? Because he was fat?
No, but see, I brought it on myself, and that is free will. See, free will is me giving myself cirrhosis of the liver because I drink too much. Free will isn't I drank too much and I ran Mike over in a car.
Yes.
That is not free will. Mike had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Now that's what I don't agree with about God. It's like, allow me to suffer the consequences of my own sin all day. It's like, I'm the one who brought it on myself, but don't allow innocent people to suffer for the consequences of your sin. That is not free will.
And it's the world, it's like, you pretty much can't argue religion.
Yeah.
Because that's a really good example because, and it's kind of interesting to take how many different denominations of Christianity are there. So, and they all have different opinions as to why their belief is is valid and somebody else's. And if you get into that, you will end up with extremely emotional discussions.
Oh, yes.
And see, but it's funny to me that people, when things are going good, then they, it's like, man, they
Thanks,
don't acknowledge
God.
God at all. But when things go bad, then they acknowledge God. Oh, why did God allow that to happen?
Yeah.
Well, when things are going good, why don't you acknowledge God?
It's
Or-
To me, it's kind of hypocritical.
they say there's no
So-
atheist in the foxhole. That's
Yeah.
Well, no.
So all of a sudden, yeah.
I didn't mean to
Exactly.
open up this whole can of worms on religion. I was simply pointing out it's like when people have deeply held internal beliefs, they can't just turn them off. And the reason I brought up my crisis or lack of faith or whatever you want to call it,
you're
it
trying to
took
reach
me.
out?
To me, it took a long time to really acknowledge, because I was scared of it. Oh man, if I even think that thought, I'm going to hell. Or if I do that, I'm going to hell. And so I really fought against it. No, don't think it. Don't. And then I just kind of finally thought about it. It's like, if we do have free will, wouldn't God want me to explore these feelings I'm having and decide on a logical basis that he exists or not? And then I decided to go on that standpoint and look at the evidence. Does he exist? And I came to the conclusion of no. But I'm only pointing out that it took me a long time from the times I first started feeling that way to the times I agreed I don't believe in it. And if he's as logical and loving as they say, then he'll understand why I don't believe in him and he'll forgive me for it, because I've still tried to be a good person.
Yeah. And
So-
and it really just matters whether he believes in you or not.
I guess.
So, Michael, back to the insider.
Yes.
I want to bring up something that you hit on. It's like people are getting shocked out of their, I guess, coma. Coma? Or
people are waking. Yeah, people are getting woke up. There's going to be some major shocks that are going to occur, I think, in the coming years.
There's a thing that's going on right now, a hearing over Sandy Hook. And man, you bring that up, that Sandy Hook situation, you talk about how none of the kids were killed there. They're like, no. We saw funerals, we saw people crying, we saw this. And, well, now they got a hearing. This just came out the other day. The school attendant was testifying against the officers and everything else that had testified that there was kids there. He goes, that school was shut down because it had asbestos in it. And he goes, then why didn't you guys, he went through all this paperwork. He goes, we have paperwork showing that the kids were on a field trip down in New Orleans.
Yep. So
And here you guys are saying all these kids died. And he goes, we had security cameras in there. He goes, how come we don't see those? And he goes, and the cameras that you guys gave us from off of your vehicle, it has to be time-stamped. And they're going, oh yeah, all of them do. Then how come the ones you gave us have no timestamp on it? They have the time on there, but you guys erased it.
Yeah.
And man, just put hole after hole after hole in this. He goes, and if there was a school shooting, then why you guys had contact with the helicopter above? How come you only called it a level 4?
well,
And the guy's going,
yeah.
well,
Where are the
at home
kids?
we didn't know.
Yeah.
What's that?
Where are the kids? If they're not dead, where are the kids?
They've had pictures.
Where are
of
their
them.
bodies?
They're not there. It was a fault. It was falsified.
So you're saying all the parents are
Yeah.
actors?
So anyway, so
Yes.
they went back and they looked at the actors that were on there. They were all FEMA actors.
Yes.
They were. And,
I'll tell you
so now
something.
this is the other thing.
Yeah.
Then the Boston bombing,
Yeah.
they were the same actors that supposedly got bombed.
You're
Yep.
shitting me.
I am
I'll
not
tell
shitting
you.
you.
even
And
though-
they show photos side by side of
Yep,
it.
Yeah.
exactly. And they found out they were on the payroll of FEMA.
Yeah,
And
I'll
so
tell you, I
this
didn't believe
is just
this.
coming out
Yeah.
right now.
I have to admit, I want to
Hearing.
call bullshit, but hearing from both of you, I want to go home and look it
Let me
up.
tell you this. I never
And
really
then
paid.
they bulldozed the school down shortly after that.
I never paid much attention to it at first, except I knew, of course, that was a big news event.
Yeah.
People were talking about it, and of course, one of the things that happened with Sandy Hook was that brought up the whole issue of gun control. That was,
Yep.
which is probably its thing. But I can tell you, there's enough data. Go into YouTube, watch some of the videos on Sandy Hook, and there's enough that will really shake you up. For example, just here's an aerial view looking at the crowd, and the crowd is moving like this. People are walking like this. That's what you do on a film set.
Yeah.
You could tell it was filmed. It was the people that were coming out of the building. They weren't running.
They're just doing laps.
They were like going back and forth to make it look like a crowd's behind them. It was all staged.
And what about the pre-recording of the one
Yeah.
parents that were crying? They're going, "Do you want us to be more dramatic about it, or how do you want us to be?" And they caught them all on, and they played
Yeah.
that over.
He's
and over,
laughing, and then as
people
soon as he gets in front of the
still-
camera, starts.
and people still won't believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It's like so much fraud.
part of it is when we get into something like that. I think the issue really is let's say that this is a fraud. Okay, let's say that it was really a FEMA exercise. Let's say that's true. If that's true, And the way it was presented, most Americans couldn't comprehend the fact that our government would lie to them like that. And I think that would really shake people up to have to admit that the fact that the government could actually even make something like this up, which is what apparently happened. When you look at the, I can tell you, after I went through this stuff, I'm convinced Sandy Hook, there's something funny going on there. I can tell you,
you guys, excuse me, Michael, but if you guys want to see that hearing, we downloaded it to our website, and it's on InfoWars Nightly News, and I think it's a 4-hour long, because they were covering Arizona, the coverage down there for that Muslim thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
And in the middle of that, they showed the hearing in the middle of that, so you're gonna have to kind of
skip through it.
Skip through it and find that hearing. But when you watch that, it'll blow your mind. And they put hole after hole after hole in these guys, and they look stupid.
Yeah.
We have a comment from Heisenberg, and he says you have his vote.
Okay.
So he says 2018, but I assume he meant 16. But now, I guess that kind of brings up a question. Have you ever considered running for public office? Because I think a problem, with some of the candidates that get out there and know the truth is they're not very articulate. They come across sounding like dopes. You are very well educated and articulate, and I think in a debate you would cream your opponents. Have you ever considered running, whether it's Congress or
no.
State senator? Nothing.
TCC board.
I'd have to be. I'm not corrupt enough. I don't think I'd fit in our government system.
Maybe not. But isn't that where it's supposed to start?
Actually, I think that's got to be the case. Actually, what you really make a good point, though. Really, what we'd like to see is we need to stop having politicians run. We need to have citizens that believe in the stewardship of the country to come forward and actually lead the country. I always am amazed. Think about this. We have 300 million people in this country, and we have some of the most brilliant people that you could possibly find. Back in 2001, I mentioned this, but when the planes hit the towers, I was teaching a class at Los Alamos National Labs to the people that build nuclear bombs. I had all PhDs in this class. I can tell you, these guys were the sharpest class I've ever taught. But I'm telling you, we have some brilliant people in this country, and you think, why is it we get somebody like George Bush Jr.? Did he come across as this is like an intellectual giant who really could lead the country? Why is it?
You know the answer. It's because they're all family.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But the point is, why can't we, as a country, find people that are really qualified? I like this story. One time it was there's a story that goes this alien comes down and they were looking for the leader, and on this planet they used to have the person that would lead the office would be the person that was the most powerful would ultimately be the ruler of the planet. And they said that didn't work out so long. So they said the most spiritually evolved person should be the leader. So they would search out who's the most spiritually evolved, who's the best person. What if we actually had job interviews with politicians? You ask them 1,000 questions and really get at what is it they really want to do, and versus, what favors that they have given somebody to move up in the system. Part of the difficulty with the system is we have, I had a civics teacher back in high school. He said part of the difficulty we have is as you move up in the political party, you have to make compromises. As you move up higher and higher, you have to make more compromises. And by the time you get to the top, you've compromised yourself so much you don't even know what you believe anymore.
Right.
And I think that's part of the difficulty. But we've got to return it back ultimately to people that really want to run the country that believe it.
If everybody woke up and said, hey, you know what, we're not going to vote Democrat or Republican, and voted a third party, you would shake up this whole paradigm. I mean, you would shake it up.
To me, that's what I was trying to talk about. Instead of people saying, I'm not voting, I'm sick of the system, vote third party.
Yeah.
Still keep your vote, keep your power. Because ultimately, that is our power.
You're right, but they've caught on to that. And matter of fact, I can't remember I can't remember if it was the last one. They actually put a third party person in there to shake up so that the votes would be split between the Republican and the third party, which actually destroyed, the conservative side. Well, I hate to say even conservative because they're not really even conservative now.
Yeah, like the neoconservatives are not.
Yeah.
We have a request from Heisenberg that Luke comes in on the topic of religion.
Well, maybe
Luke
next show
denies.
because we're gonna have to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
It is
And,
kind of late, yeah.
I want to bring up also that
So when does the Insider start?
We haven't set a date
we're
yet.
actually putting it together. Bobby just put a song together
Oh yes,
for us.
awesome song by the way, Bob.
Oh, thank you guys.
So tomorrow
Thank you
morning
so
at 6
much.
a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m. No.
Yeah, just before we go to bed.
That's in the middle of the night for Michael.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's something that we're discussing right now, but it's in the making, and we're going to start bringing some real special guests on the show.
Yeah, we think especially if we get a show like this going, people will come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
We can start getting people that really have some good inside information that we
Yes.
can actually.
So we'll keep people posted anyways.
Yeah.
You know?
And one thing that their end game, we were talking about their end game, is they actually have those RFID chips already made up, and they're only going to give them out to 500 million people. And because that's their ultimate game plan. Yeah, and my daughter down in Texas, her teacher had taken one already, but you think it's behind because you always hear in the Revelations on the palm or forehead.
Yeah.
But hers is behind her ear, embedded in her tissue there. And her husband's part of the Illuminati, and he's like, you better take this because this is the only way you're going to make it. You will not be able to trade, live, or anything without these chips. And they're only going to give 500 million out. So those who wanted to take the mark, you better jump on it because there's only going to be 500 million out there. So
Don't take it. Don't take it.
Well,
man.
there's enough dumb people out there that will.
Okay.
Before we leave, could I ask a question?
Sure.
You guys are talking about some great stuff tonight. Something popped up to me, and I just want to know, what your guys' opinion of this is. In my opinion, all this talk about getting people to wake up and getting people to do this, it's like, what I see is like, for instance, in our government, there's so much corruption, and like you said, as you work your way up the political ladder, you have to make compromises. Well, we know what those compromises end up being, okay? And what my question is this. Until we can get rid of this superstructure called American politics, or for instance, we had an opportunity a few years ago to get our politicians to vote up or down on term limits. And what a shock, they voted it down. Okay, because basically what I see is they would be voting themselves out of a job.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's my point. It's not supposed to be a job.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a small portion of your life to be a public servant for this or that or whatever it is you're a public servant for, and then stop and move on and go do something else. Okay? But that's not happening, guys. This corrupt bunch of sons of guns are sitting up there, and they just keep feeding themselves.
If we do it on the state level and vote and say, no, we're going to put term limits on our senators.
You think that would work here?
I don't know.
You think we
But
could
it'd be
do it on a
start.
state level?
We could only impose on state senators and not national federal ones. That would be set by the Constitution. I mean, that would be incredibly hard to pass. I mean, to get a constitutional amendment passed, you need 2/3 of both houses of Congress and 3/4 ratification of the states.
Yeah, but we vote in our senators for the state to represent us.
So you'd have to count.
You know what? We're not going to put anybody in there.
You would have to count on every state electing people that would pass it. At least 3/4 of them, the people that would pass it, and then have the states ratify it in their houses of Congress, and then have a president willing to sign it.
Was this never-ending tenure put into the Constitution for these guys, or did this happen afterwards?
Term limits came in. Let's see. Roosevelt had 3 terms. And
No,
then
4. He died in the. He died in the.
He died in the 4th term.
Yeah.
And then after that, they limited the terms for the president to.
How come not the other guys?
It's because the people that would limit it are the people that have to vote for it.
Yeah, I think it was believed that that's one reason we have so many representatives in the House of Representatives versus the Senate, is because they're tied closer to the people. There's a smaller proportion to the citizenship.
I think we also need to, in the U.S. Congress, we have to abolish the party system.
Yeah.
In other words, once you're into Congress, for example, I don't know if you know this, but once you have a majority, they pick who leads all the major committees.
Right.
That shouldn't be the
No.
case. It shouldn't be partisan. That's letting an external group. Think about this: a political party like the Republican Party or Democratic Party, they're private organizations taking control of the country.
Yeah.
Got a lot of work to do.
I'm counting on you to back me up or tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm basing this on memory and kind of just stuff I've read in the past that might not be true. But the Roman Senate, before it was the Roman Empire, but the Roman Senate treated it like jury duty, where it wasn't something you ran for, but it was a draft. Like every citizen had his name thrown in there, and all every 2 years or whatever, they draw a name, and all of a sudden, no, it's Bobby Lee. You're going to be the representative for the state of Washington, or for your Clark County or whatever for the next 2 years.
That's how the Roman Senate was picked.
I think so. And what that prevented was career politicians, because you were never going to do it again, and you were just thrown in completely at random. So companies or whatever couldn't predict who was going to be in it and buy them out. And it was just it was like jury duty. And I guess with jury duty, you're flipping a coin. You could get some stupid people in there, but you're going to prevent career politicians.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you would you vote for, like, hey, I'm running for juror of Clark County? It's like, you don't know what kind of biases that person has. Why would you trust someone who's willing to run for juror? So why are you willing to trust it with your Senate? But I think that is how the Roman Senate did it.
Wow.
Was by draft. Which I kind of like the idea of, personally.
Yeah, if they had some good criteria for, well, you probably wouldn't want just the average person at random, but if you
Take an IQ test or something.
some kind of, you had to qualify or something to.
Yeah, but then again, then you'd get into the whole thing. Well, who writes the IQ test? Who's
whatever.
it geared towards? That kind of crap.
The biggest deception is participating in the fraud.
There it
And
is.
so as you participate in this matrix that they've created, you're just participating in the fraud. So if you step out of it and say, hey, I'm not going to participate anymore, that's what they're scared of. So if we just wake up and say, hey, I'm not going to participate, I don't have to, why should I have to vote on two devils? That goes against my moral principles.
There's
That
always
goes
lesser
against
evil.
my, hey, I want
Yes.
somebody that represents me, has some integrity, so I'm not going to participate in it.
Well,
Every single time they give us two devils.
Well, that's why I agree with Adrian. I agree that I think you have to vote on principle, and once you realize that the Democratic and Republican parties they're just stooges, then you need to look at where else. Who can I vote for?
Exactly.
That if they actually did get in, I can actually trust them.
Yep.
And then of course I want them to get in, and even somebody like Ron Paul. If Ron Paul got in, I always wonder how long
He'd
would
probably
last.
die.
Yeah.
They'd probably kill him.
Well, he'd be powerless because they'd still have all the Congress behind him, and he'd veto them. They'd override them. He would suggest stuff. They wouldn't pass it.
Yeah, but it would start a change.
But see, not voting is letting them win. Voting third party is
No, it does allow them to win because they control the outcome. So you participate, they win no matter which way you go.
I disagree. Look at Vermont.
Michael, is that true or not true?
Well,
Because they're the ones, if you look at every Bilderberg meeting that they have, it's always right before the elections, and who shows up to them? The candidates that are running for president.
like Hillary and Barack Obama.
Yeah. And those are the two that end up being in the forefront for running for president.
To me, that
And
is
they chose Barack.
those people are paid for. Look at Bernie right now. The hot Democrat Party tickets are Hillary and Bernie Sanders. And have you ever looked at their PDC reports? It's the Personal Disclosure Commission. Where they have to disclose who's paying for their campaign and all that kind of stuff. And Hillary is a bunch of Chase Manhattan and Goldman Sachs and stuff like that.
But she has no money.
But Bernie Sanders is all. Granted, I'm not really in favor of Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
But it's all workers' unions and stuff. It at least appears that it's coming from more of the grassroots, people-based, up with the
Except,
people kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Isn't he a democratic socialist?
He's independent.
He's a democratic socialist.
No, he's not democratic. He's independent. He's probably considered a socialist,
Yeah,
but he's not democratic. He's independent.
He's pretty socialist. Pretty high card socialist.
Yeah.
He could run for the Socialist Party, I think.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to him?
Yes, and I've read stuff from him. And
He does. He comes off like a real even thinking kind of guy, but his philosophy is to eliminate what it is that we incorporate as our society.
Now, to me,
and I don't think that's the way.
This brings up what we were talking about earlier. It's like he's independent. Now, granted, I don't agree with his political stance of being a socialist, but just the fact he ran as an independent, I trust him more than Hillary.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, I don't believe in what he's doing, but I do believe he's doing what he thinks is right.
Anybody's
going to
trust anybody. I mean, you almost trust the devil more than you trust Hillary.
Yeah.
I
Hillary's
think that's
horrible.
the point, Mike.
Yeah.
And I think, before we get off here, I want to compliment you. You said something earlier tonight that I really admire. You said, you know what? I turned my TV off, man. I got rid of my damn TV. Well, I did that a year ago. Okay? I haven't missed it one bit.
And here we are trying to get on it.
Yes. Well, we're trying to
Hey, we hate what you're watching us on, but please watch us, folks.
We had Comcast, and nobody owned Comcast.
Yeah.
We were all working for them, but
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You did?
Until we got down.
I do.
Then
I
shut it
still
off.
do. I used to watch. Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, if we get the station back, maybe we'll get your TVs back. Then
Yeah.
You got one channel. You can do it on channel 11.
Yeah, I'm happy without it. So, people, thank you for watching us, checking the FETV stream, and please subscribe. We want to try to get that URL. I should say number, but it's not.
We got to get up to 500 subscribers.
Yeah, we
We're
have to
up
get 500.
240 something.
And if we can get that, then it puts us in a whole nother
242.
bracket. 242.
We've gone up this afternoon.
All right.
Probably because I begged that one person to come back on.
Good job.
Yeah, took all day. Anyways, thank you for watching FETV, and thank you for watching Underground.
Thank you.
Adrian?
Hey, it's been fun having you
Yeah,
back, man.
it was
Sure
like
has,
old times.
buddy.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks.
Thank you.
And Ginger made it through the show this time without getting strangled.
Yeah. Oh, I think she left.
She left. So,
There she is.
she's still alive. So, Bobby,
Yeah, guys.
take
let's
us out.
go on. Who's gonna rescue all the souls that have gone wrong? Who has a reason why the pain lingers on? Tell me, how can you find a reason or rhyme to help you describe what you choose to deny? The answer to all, and it's greatly defined in the message. Who's gonna worry when the lightning starts to fall? Who's gonna wonder what the hell is going on? Tell me, how can you hide from the fear that's inside? Courageously bold in 49, the answers are clear when we choose to find the message. Seek and you'll find life has a way of making changes. Love is defined when we find a way to hold each other, yeah. Who will be hungry when the well all runs dry? Who's gonna scurry when we need
wait to find out why. Tell me, how can you stand on what you rely when all that is there is the root of a lie? We're giving away and still we deny the message. The message. Yeah, yeah. The message. I believe in something good. I can see that I really should look for something in life, look for someone in love. Gonna find my own way, and I find what I could. Hell, it's been fun. On the run, I know it's time for love to come. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
1, 2, 3, and 4! Fight for it! How bad do you want it? Come on! Harder, dig!
Hi, and welcome to Brood, your local cafe and pub. Offering you a variety of services, we have beer, coffee, wine, and food. You can find us on Facebook at Brood360 and online at broodcafepub.com.